People of God, how are you? I bust my darn lip. Listen, how are you, people of God? Happy Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom. You know what I want to tell you? Giving people things won't make them love you, won't make them like you, right? Giving people things won't make them love you or like you. And I'm gonna say this before I start eating. I got me some nice Greek food here. Um, Mediterranean, no, what is it? A lamb bowl. But listen, giving people things won't make them like you. Um, what brought me to this is I was talking to one of my elders. His wife, his second wife, has passed. Right, his first wife, they got a divorce years ago. Hey, but his his um his first wife, he misses his wife so much. His wife that passed, she was a good lady. You know, she was a nurse, and he is a master mechanic. He can fix anything. You know, he's my mechanic. I call him my pops, and I also call him my mechanic mentor. Right? He can fix anything, and so he's always willing to always want to talk about something with cars, and I like that. And then sometimes he's sad, he cries, he misses his wife, but he's a great father, great husband. I call him. I wish he was my dad, but anyway, he was telling me about how he was so happy to lose everything at one point. He was happy to lose it all. I don't like how that little scar is on my lip. Yesterday, when I was at work, I went to what did I do? I think I bumped into something. I bumped my lip, and I didn't have it wasn't bleeding or anything. I didn't know, but when I woke up this morning, I had this scar there, so I bumped it pretty hard. But anyway, he was telling me how his first wife. He said he was happy to lose everything. I was like, no, pops, how you happy to lose everything? He was like, man, please. He was like, you don't even understand. He said, my own mama, growing up, he really didn't have. He said his mama didn't really show him love. It was more of what he could do for her. She always wanted to get into his pockets. He said I always had me a hustle. He said a hustle beat a job any day. He said I always had skills, and working on cars and stuff. Everybody need that. And he said so I always had ways to make money. It's a lot of things I could do. And he said I made a lot of money one time. Then I came into a lot of money at one point. And he said, my first wife, he said, she used to give me the devil. We couldn't really talk about a lot of stuff, but he said, I was providing everything. I paid, the house we was living in, I paid for that. He said, whatever I did for my mama, he said that my mama was in my pocket on one side, my wife was, in the pocket. And then he said, whatever I did for my mama, then my wife's mama, she was competing. So whatever I did for my mama, I had to try to do for my mother-in-law. And he's like, man, I had all three of these women in my pocket. And he said they was stressing me out, and I'm trying to go to work, come home, ain't really no peace. And he said it got to the point where things had got hard for me. He said things got hard for me. He said I gave my wife everything she wanted. He said I gave her everything she wanted. And whatever her mama wanted, whatever I gave my mama, her mama was trying to compete. So they, our parent that my mama and her mama, they got what they wanted from me too. And he said, sometimes I just feel like, he said, in the middle of that, I felt like I was all alone. He said, I used to go to bed with a heavy heart sometimes. He said, come home from work stressed out, then, stressed out by family. And he said, it got to the point where things got hard for me financially. I forgot what he said exactly he run into, but long story short, financially, things had got hard for him. And he said, as his money began to decrease, when he started going through the financial hardship, as the money began to decrease, he said that's when he began to see the attitude in everybody. And then he said when he hit rock bottom, he said his wife stepped out on him and went and slept with another man. He said I started to kill him. I said, I'm glad you didn't, Pops. I said, I'm so glad you did. He said, after all I did for him. See, that's what you would call a crime of passion. See, that's what you would call a crime of passion right there. But he said, I started to kill her. He said, God stopped me. He said, God stopped me. He said, I started to kill her because he said, that hurt so bad while I'm down. And he said, then she wanted to try to take me She wanted to take the house and everything. She said we went through a divorce. He said I let her have it. He said, let me tell you something. He said, baby, he said, he said, being broke, he said that the first time I had peace in my life, he said, I was happy to be broke. He said, my mama wasn't calling me. I ain't had to deal with her and her mama no more. He said, yeah, I ain't had nothing, but I could easily start back. I could easily build myself back up. He said, I tell her that I let her go ahead and have the house. I let her take it. That's what she wanted to start fighting over. She know I pay for that house, but she wanted to take that. That's the only thing pretty much I had. He said, I went ahead and let her have it. And he said, I went and I started my life back over. He said, at the best peace I ever had. And he said, my wife, the one that his second wife, he said, they always kind of knew each other. He said, but, I used to crack jokes and stuff like that because he liked to crack jokes and stuff. But he's a very wise man. He be using little curse words and stuff sometimes, but he got a good heart. And anytime any guy want to date me and stuff, I run certain things past him. He be straight to the point, baby. He ain't, he was like, he gives it to me. He's a straight shooter. And he don't want nobody, he knows the type of young lady I am. And he take me as his own. He don't want nobody taking advantage of me. So he's always pouring knowledge into me and what I need to look out for. But he told me, he said, when he met his second wife, he said she had to get me right. He said I realized some of the things she would say, she had to correct me on a lot of things. He said, but me and my second wife, he said, we could sit down and just talk for hours. He said, she'll tell me about myself. He said, I listen to her. He said, whatever my wife tell me to do, I do it. He said, baby, I continue to grow. He said, me and my wife, we do good. The land that he lives on now, he was building her, he built her a nice she shade in the back. He was spoiling her that he was building something else on to that. So when she died, it really, really hurt his heart. It really, really hurt him. And he still, you know, he be by himself most of the time. He keep himself busy and stuff like that. But sometimes he'll start thinking about it. He'll start crying. He'll get sad or whatever. He said, me and my wife, my second wife, he said, that was a wife. He said, you remind me of her a lot. He said, don't ever change yourself for nobody, baby. But I used to take them eggs and a lot of that too. They love my fresh eggs and stuff. But he said, don't ever change yourself for nobody. He said, I changed for my wife. He said, I changed for my wife. That woman, she poured a lot into me. He said, I learned things from her I didn't learn from my mama. And he said, I know she loved me, and our boys. And what brought me to what I want to say, just reflecting on that, you know, people of God, you can't give people, we can't give people things to think that's gonna make them respect us and think that's gonna make them love us. Things don't make people love you. I who I am without you giving me anything. And so we have to take our time to learn people, especially when you're talking about settling down with somebody, bringing somebody into your atmosphere as a friend or whatever, letting anybody learning anything about you. There'll be a lot of people, sometimes they see you, they meet you out in public, they want to sit and talk. That's fine. I go places, a lot of times these two ladies just stopped by me just now, as they pulled up here, they just walked inside. They said they coming back out to sit with me. 170, 173, and they stood here and talked with me about 10 minutes. They started asking me about what I got, and we ended up talking about the word of God and the health laws and the book of Leviticus and all of that. I meet people all the time when I go out, when I go places, but we have to do a good job of discerning the motive of people and learning people. Sometimes you don't realize what's in a person's heart, or how somebody, if you're the type of person where you don't look at trying to beat nobody, or you don't use other people, sometimes when you have people around you, or when you're connected to people, you won't really learn what's in a person's heart for you until you're at your lowest sometimes, or until you need them sometimes. And even it could be people that you have poured into, it could be people that you have supported or given things to, people that you have loved. It could be people you've known for years on years. And you won't see the selfishness in them sometimes until you tell them no, or until you withdraw your support. Then you will see, or until things get hard in your life. Sometimes when things get hard in your life, that's when sometimes the closest person to you will leave you. And it'll be like you be by yourself trying to keep going, and that person won't even call and pick up the phone and check on you. It could be your mama, it could be your daddy, it could be your brother or your sister. It could be your husband or your wife. You know, learn what's we must understand to discern and learn what's in a person's heart. Things don't make people love you. Things don't make people respect you. They can make people pretend. People can pretend to be what you want them to be or something that they're not for a long time, baby. People can pretend for a long time until you really start to see them for who they really are, until you really get to a place where things are hard in your life and you're not able to keep up with the things that you were doing for them. And them same people are turn and walk out your life as if you ain't never did nothing for them. And a lot of you empathetic people, you the blessing. People realizing now that you're the blessing. You a pure soul came into their lives. But don't let them people run back in your life. You really, and don't be, you ain't got to be mad with them, you know. And if you're led to have a conversation, if you need to talk about something, you could. But for the most part, people needed to come across a pure soul so that they could help, so that that pure soul, whatever you deposited in their life, they got to grow. But that don't mean you got to stay with people. A lot of times, I did a video a year or so back where sometimes we help people by separating from them. Sometimes the seeds you sow, the struggle you have to fight with somebody while you in their life to get them to do right. Sometimes you can find yourself it being a struggle and you just trying to tell somebody to do the right thing. You just trying to help them to do the right thing. And you don't see that sometimes until people, what is that noise? You don't see that it's a struggle sometimes, but people don't learn sometimes until you depart from their life. There's a lot of people who I sowed a lot of seeds in their life. I held their hand. I was loving on them, nurturing, because as a woman, that's our natural instinct to be nurturing. But sometimes you have to cut folk off and go about your business. Even when you care, you have to hold on a second. But anyway, I had to stop that for a second because that music was really disrupting my train of thought. So sometimes there's a lot of people who I've poured into, and they didn't start growing until I actually separated from them, until I cut them off. And some people will think you trying to control them and tell them what to do when you actually teaching them something that they asked you to teach them, but they reach a point where they think they learn enough and they want to start competing against you or want to start telling you what to do. They looking for me? Yeah. I'm sitting out here. I or they want to start. She said they were looking for me. They must be want me to come inside, but I want to sit outside. I want to and enjoy the fresh air. You know, I want to sit out here. Well, they wanted me to come inside. Oh, they coming outside. Okay. Yeah, I do like this raspberry. All right, people of God. Oh, we gotta get out the sun. You gotta get it. So you want me to step back there? Well, that one over there don't have no sun at all. Okay, let's go back. I'm gonna move for my elders, people of God. I'm gonna go sit with these two ladies. They said they want to sit and talk with me, so I'll go and move up there and eat my food with them. But I'm gonna end this video. But I'll jump back on later because it's another thing I want to talk about too. But I'll talk about that later after I leave here. If it come back to my spirit, then I know I need to talk about it. But we cannot give people things. Giving people things is not gonna make them love us or respect us. Yep. Learn what's in a person's heart and make sure they learning you because they really want to get to know you. Make sure they love you for you, not what you giving them. Sometimes pull back from people and see if they actually care. See how they treat you when they know your personality. See if they come into your life and they just scornful. Everybody who critique you when they come into your life, that don't mean they're scornful of you. Sometimes they see you can change something about yourself and you can be more and more fabulous. They'll help you grow. See if their advice help you or just beat your spirit down and just act like they don't want nothing to do with you. Learn people. And see what my shirt said? Learn me. Check out my shirt. Learn me or leave me. Don't people please. Make people get to know you and you learn what's in a person's heart. Make sure they love you for you. But let me go up here and eat with my elders. So y'all have a blessed day. I love you.